So we are speaking with Khyentse Norbu, the movie director and writing of Peak Crossing. But as a hobby, you are also quite a big Buddhist guru. So why would a guru spend so much time and effort making movies?
You know, guru is such a dirty language these days. It used to be such a, honorable, wholesome, noble title, so to speak. Wow, now there's not only it's dirty, it's become so, I don't know, materialistic. The word guru used to be used by people who really think about something beyond what you see and what you can touch and what you can sort of, I don't know, the obvious ones, right? The word guru used to be people who really think about things that are not obvious, things that are, beyond our sort of conventional assessment, conventional thinking. But nowadays there's things like tech guru. What do you think of that? Tech guru. And then they have a what? Social media, I don't know, influencer guru or whatever, I don't know. I was just reading it. But anyway, if what you meant by I'm some sort of associated with so-called Buddhism, and I use the word so-called because the word Buddhism is invented by Westerners, I think. There is no such thing as word Buddhism, in the past. That's important to point it out. 2000 years ago, people who do what I do, not just the teaching, just studying and meditating, we were like those students and the professors of MIT, if you like. People who are, I don't know, student of, I don't know, Oxford, who really spend time and energy in learning, what is world? What makes world? Who are you? What am I? So it's a science. But we are now put in this basket called religion. So I know a lot of people think, oh, aren't you a religious person? Why are you making movies? I mean, even that question itself, I find it a bit strange because the religious people have always used medium, centuries. Everything, iconography, paintings, what? Christians have the cross. These are all iconography, representation. You need to speak different language. And language is not necessarily Portuguese or Spanish or English. Language comes in the form of, what do they call it? Symbolism, semiotic. Language is very important. And media is a current language. Film is another language. I think the film language is probably dying. Film as in, the feature film, that kind of film that we are our subject today. Probably it's sort of going down it's sort of fading. But nevertheless, it has been a very powerful medium. It is, it has a lot of influence. I'm sure a lot of people who, shoot other people with guns, there may be some influence from, watching too many of shootings also, So, religious, scientists, physicists, mathematicians, I think we should all feel free and be creative in using whatever the medium we can get.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's such a deep impact. I watched the movie, and I mean, I've been receiving or hearing some teachings, about what happens after we die. But the way we can experience it there is different. It's more profound or more lively than what we would usually hear, by just a talk and a language. So it really passes. And Rinpoche, why did you make a movie of someone who dies?
Uh, well, why? Your question is why I made? Well, that's a very big question. Sometimes the filmmakers, like all the artists, have challenges, right? And the challenges, I'm sure you know this very well. I mean, even just to speak, just even talking to you has some challenge. There's a thing that I really want to tell you, but then I have to also make it so that it is understandable by you, who come from a different culture, different background, different upbringing, different whatever, you understand? And that is the fundamental challenge of everything. Communication. You want to communicate something because you are passionate about it, because you really think that's interesting, you think that's really special, and you want to tell this to other people, but the other people are totally, they don't know whatever you are thinking. I wish maybe I should not, that they can print out all the thoughts that's going on in my head. You understand? And then with a sound effect and everything, show it to people, but maybe better not. Anyway, the fundamental problem with the communication is always this. The communicator have a certain wish, passion, interest. You can say, I have an interest in, generally as a Buddhist, I have an interest, passion for the Buddhist teachings. And also I'm somewhat expected to talk about it. But the mass, the people who are listening, they come from a different background. I need to articulate this. I need to sort of make it. Also, stuff like, if I want to tell you something, I need to get your attention, right? I really need to get your attention. In order to get that attention, I need to tell you something that is interesting. Probably, that's my guess. It's interesting for you. And then I insert whatever I'm trying to tell you in there. That's the only way. And I guess that's why every medium works. Now, I have, as a Buddhist, I guess, and as a Himalayan people, I like, and not just that, I generally like strange subjects, like I personally like stories or books, podcasts that really talks about things that are different, little bit different, not always the same stuff. But this is a challenge because people are used to same stuff, and I need to bow down to that also. But I, as a storyteller, I also need to push my own story there too. So yes, concept of death, life, after death, obviously is a very big study in Buddhism, and therefore it's a very prominent culture in the Himalayas. And it has always been very interesting for me that the very idea of death is somewhat understood by different people, different region, different culture in a different way. I think for a lot of people, death is it. That's the end. Blank. No more. But for a lot of people, grow up in a culture, death is not really considered like that. This is not an end. In fact, it's just another beginning. And I'm not even putting it in a very poetic way. It's like I'm sitting here early morning, and it's like way past death of last night. It's a continuation. You understand? So there are culture who really talks about, who really grow up with this kind of thing, this kind of culture. And, probably this is just personally me. I feel that, that need to be told and that need to be understood by people. That is one way of looking at life and death, and this need to be at least presented to people who really want to know, such as perhaps like you. Otherwise, the only way, only definition of death that you, Mexicans, Brazilians, I don't know, French, of course, Indians, Chinese, perhaps the only definition that we will end up understanding is what is defined in Netflix, what is defined in the Hollywood movies. And that is such a deprivation. That's a really big deprivation.
I love that, Rinpoche, and I have a follow-up question. But
okay.
Before that, where are you? Well, I know where you are. You are in my favorite place on earth. When they told me we were going to do the interview from there, I booked another trip to Bhutan.
I'm in my living room.
In the room?
I'm in my living room. Yeah. What do you mean? You mean like behind me?
Yeah, like behind you.
Oh, you didn't know? That's a CGI, like artificial intelligence. Bhutan has such a really very, very advanced film industry. You didn't know? That's why, I had such a amazing, young people who really, they were really good. This, just last night they created.
It looks totally natural and real.
Actually, this will be more and more natural than the other one. The real, so-called real one.
A ver, move your arms, Rinpoche. I think you're really in tiger's nest.
Yeah, it's so good. There won't be any distortion. Okay.
So you were saying, like it would be very sad that we just keep like the understanding and the ideas of what's dead based on Hollywood, Netflix, and these mainstream ideas. So you promoted this film as the most rejected movie ever, no? How does it feel to be rejected by all these film festivals? And I watched a movie and I found it so amazing. I really got hooked by it. And I'm not so good watching movies, but this one really hooked me. So why do you think it was rejected by this mainstream industry?
Well, there's a really good, do you want to take a photo of him looking down? We just created another really good artificial intelligence stuff. You should watch this. It's really good. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. Yeah. So how did I feel? Oh, actually, myself, or personally myself, I kind of expected, you could talk to my producer. I said, look, this is not going to be that you are, something that you can sort of pitch it to, I don't know, agents or business, film business people or even festivals. In fact, originally, I even planned to immediately release it, even as we were shooting. So, yeah, I kind of expected that. You understand? So it's, I was prepared. That's what I'm saying. But having said that, some of the festivals, some of the, what do you call it, the film funding agency, some of the so-called film distributors, they claim that they are very independent and they don't want to be mainstream and stuff like that. So, of course, there was a little bit of an expectation that they will have at least some sort of a, I don't know, not only curiosity, some sort of effort. But again, I also, even as I was shooting the film, there was some decision I made, which was probably not the, okay, first of all, I need to tell you this. The festivals, some of those kids, they have to watch hundreds and hundreds of movies just to select. You understand? So, you have to have a sympathy. I would not like to have that job. I'm probably not that much paid or even volunteering, those. And also, as you put it right at the beginning, this is not my usual profession. This is not my job. My real job is something else. I do this out of my, I don't know, hobby, passion, interest, just once in a blue moon. So what I'm saying is, I'm sure it's technically not competitive to all the films that is being submitted. You understand? So I understand if it gets rejected, because, I'm not a professional filmmaker. But as I was saying, certain decision I made, such as, as many people have actually, even some of my really good friends from the film industry have said, well, why don't you cut the beginning 10 minutes? Because the beginning I chose to have camera static, locked, wide shot, continuously for 6-7 minutes. And that was like, that is something that I've wanted to do even as I was writing. Because, sometimes, it's good to just watch. Let the audience choose, Well, that's what many directors I have heard. It's really good directors, writers. And I really like that. If I choose to put extreme close-ups, camera movement, that's like, I'm like dictating the people who are watching, okay, only watch here. I'm not giving people the freedom. I'm basically spoon-feeding the audience, right? And so there is that kind of decision, no lighting, and of course, to begin with, the story is very, very, it's not your usual sort of a weekend holiday story. So when we hear the rejection, I was prepared. But I think we also, I think we need to know, in our life, I have noticed, lobbyist is very important. I'm sure even people who like to see you, they need to know somebody who knows you, right? Who will introduce you, of course. That's how it works. You know, people want to see you and, oh, I know her, and then, you know, this happened to be your friend, and your friend trying to sort of pitch, advocate this person's wish to see you. So in our life, everything is like this. And we have, you know, sort of, we never really worked hard on trying to get, what do you call it, lobbyists. Then also the lobbyists, you know, I totally understand, you know, they have, you know, things cost, and they need to, you know, recover whatever they are spending, you know, money, energy, time. And probably the moment they saw the 6 minutes in the beginning, they said, oh, no, this is not going to do it. So no agents, no lobbyists. My lobbyists are my audience. You know, people who watched it, you know, if they can lobby it to their friends, that's the lobbyist that I'm counting on. And I think I have to say, I've been very happy. It has been quite an amazing, achievement, because we haven't put any, effort in marketing or whatever. Very, just on a very personal level. But I think the result is quite an astounding, really good. So that is actually, personally for me, it is an achievement. Also encouragement. In fact, because of that, I have some other stories. I thought, oh, maybe I can do this, you know? Just go out there with your camera and do it, with your phone and do it. You know, so that's an encouragement. So I really should thank those audience who watched, because we live streamed twice, and there's been such an encouragement from them. So I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone.
Oh, that's so amazing, Rinpoche, and it's so inspiring also, because so many times we want to be accepted, we want the mainstream things to recognize us, and we think that's the only way to give our message or to, yeah. So it's so encouraging to see you when you were like the most rejected film. I'm like, that's just so brilliant, you know, and how to turn it around and manage to reach people and give the message, but without having to fit in the special box to be able to do it. And Rinpoche, so many people think Buddhists are negative and pessimistic because they think of death and they think of impermanence. So how does thinking about death helps our life right now while we are alive? How we can see it in a positive way or a useful way?
Well, you know, I understand people will think, but you know, truth is always, many times, the truth is bitter. The truth. And I guess Buddhism, the core of the Buddhism, the ingredient of the Buddhism is really talking about the truth. Buddhism doesn't have a room for, like, hey, everything's going to be all right. No, it's not going to be all right. But that doesn't mean that things are always going to be doomed and, like bad forever, because it's impermanent. I don't have a Ferrari right now, and if I really want to drive a Ferrari, I don't have to be too, pessimistic, because impermanent. Tomorrow I might have a Ferrari. Who knows? So actually, it's unfortunate that many of the Buddhist truths always ends up being interpreted negative in a pessimistic way. It's a lot of, there's a lot of, it really opens your eyes. For instance, okay, let's say you realize that things are impermanent, things are uncertain. Probably this will really help you to enjoy your life better. If you realize that your family is not going to be there forever, this is it. Let's just enjoy everything what we have. So, but I understand. Words like impermanence may be not a nice thing to hear during the birthday celebration, even though, ironically, very birthday is something to do with you getting old, right? But impermanence, the Buddhists talk about, past is gone. Future hasn't yet here. All you have is this very moment. Well, actually, that's not that pessimistic, is it? That's not that bitter, but a lot of people like to plan the future. They enjoy it. A lot of people like to brood about the past. Well, maybe they should try to not to do that and talk and contemplate and invest more time and energy and money and education and everything on now, the fact of uncertainty, the fact that everything is just your opinion, everything is just your projection. Those things could be helpful.
And we reach that through acknowledging death, no?
What? Can you repeat that again?
Like by acknowledging death is coming.
Yes, death is coming, and then as I was saying, it is not the end. It's just the beginning. Actually, people talk about vision. I'm sure you guys talk about vision and mission, right? When you have a company, you have to have a vision and mission. Your vision should go beyond the death. That would make your life much more better. If your vision is just this life, it's such a narrow vision.
But this is a follow-up question, and this one comes from my son Sutra, who is just 8 years old, and he asked me this question some months ago, and I didn't know what to reply to him. And he said, how do you know what happens after death if people that die don't come back?
Wow, I'm always afraid of children's question. This is a very big question. We should be sitting here long time talking about this. We need to. Well, it's not true that they don't come back. Well, that's what Buddhists think. I'm sure a lot of people have a hard time believing it. And I can sit here, give you all my case, all my logic, all my reason why I personally believe this. Now, this is too intellectual, but since it's in my head, I want to tell you this. Especially the modern world, the Western world, they respect iconic person like Einstein, astrophysicist, right? something like that, physicist. You know what he said? He said, time is relative. Now, I don't understand why, on one hand, you believe that time is relative, and on the other hand, death is the end. That is a contradiction. If you believe in an ultimate end, then it's no more relative. You know? So, ask your son few questions. If he can answer me this, I will continue, because I can't answer this big, profound question of your son like in one go. I can only answer this through classic Buddhist argument or analogy. Ask your son, if a mummy is chewing chocolate, does he like chocolate, by the way?
He likes ice cream. That would be
Ice cream, okay. If mummy is licking ice cream, and he really have a water in his mouth, right? Even though ice cream is not in his mouth, but he still feels it. That's why he has a saliva in his mouth. How did that happen? Then ask question, if you lit one candle, use one candle, and then you light another candle, whether the first fire went to the next fire, are they two separate fire or are they one fire? Okay? But this is a bit too, but they are so amazing, these kids, they think in a very, very uncorrupted way. When I'm talking to you, you are hearing something, and you imagine you understand something. And my word that you hear, is it the same word that you are hearing? The same word that comes from my mouth? And is it exactly the same word that is going in your ear and the mind? Ask these. That's how the so-called, the word reincarnation, English word reincarnation is not doing the justice of the actual Buddhist word. But anyway, for now, that's how the death, after death, birth, life in general works. Yesterday's me and today's me are the same? No. Are they different? No. But it's a continuation. But this is a very big subject, and I'm amazed your son asked this.
Oh. Thank you, Rinpoche. And I still have some questions, but before asking those, I just want to... it's another peak crossing streaming, right? You said it's already been 2, and it's one more coming. And I think people can already register at peakcrossing.film so they can watch it.
Yes. I'm not so good at this kind of technical and, sort of the business side. But yes, we because there has been a lot of requests, people who hasn't seen it yet. But there's also people who has seen it, but they want to see it again because they think, it was a bit too complicated, I guess. And then there were other people who have been really, really very kind and supportive of this kind of project. Even though they have already seen twice, they wanted to see it again, I was told. So yes, we are now planning the 3rd screening. And as I said earlier, I have to count on, I think not just me, actually, a lot of the filmmakers who make this kind of obscure, strange films at the end of the day, it is not the critics, it's not the media, it's not the festivals, it's the audience. They are the one who will give them support.
So whoever is watching us, you can go now to peakcrossing.film and you can buy your ticket so you can see the next screening. That's the way you can see this movie we are talking about. And for what people is this movie made for? No, who do you think, like, if you're like this or like that, you should definitely watch this movie? Who were you thinking when you made it and
Very important
write
question.
it, because you're also the writer?
Yeah, very important question. This answer will connect it to whatever I said earlier. Communication. So this is a big challenge. And I have been asked, I've made few films, and the first thing people always ask, who is it for? Right? That's an important question, I think. So this is where I have to think, okay, how much should I really push myself to present what is in my head? You understand? Really, let's say 90% of whatever I'm thinking, I want to push. That means audience is narrow. Very narrow, very, very narrow. You understand? Now, how much should I really push to tell a story that people like to hear? Car chase, and then the ups, and then I don't know, the gun shoot, and then the climax, and then the birds flying, dragons flying, man eating, this, that, then, well, it depends, right? I'm not saying that they are, I'm not really being negative, actually. I'm giving a free ad for a film, but it's okay. One of the most amazing commercial film I have watched was an Indian film called RRR. I think that is, like the writers, the makers, they really knew. They know what people want to hear and what people want to watch. And they do it so, so well. I don't have that kind of talent. And mind you, I don't have that kind of also wish so much. I have so much things in my head. I want you to tell that. I wish that I can tell only that. But, that means, taking a lot of risk. That means a lot of rejection, not just from the festivals, but even from the audience. Okay.
And do you think, Rinpoche, watching this movie could help us in our spiritual path? Is this movie? Yeah.
Well, I can't promise that one. I hope so.
Uh-huh.
But that's very subjective. That's really subjective.
And last question, Rinpoche, and we'll let you go. In the movie is this Indian guy who is helping the dead beings. Will there be some Indian guy or somebody that can help us or guide us or point the way or something when we die? Someone we can search for there?
Our kind of film is a really low budget film. So there is no luxury of going to expensive casting agency. You understand? And we can't afford, like Brad Pitt. So we just have to sort of look around and say, hey, can you do this? That's how sort of most of the casting have been done. But having said that, these people were also very dedicated, and that's something I really, really cherish. All my artists, the actors, the camera people, gaffer, everyone. My actors, when they are not acting, they are, carrying chairs, bringing food, everybody doing everything. So their love for this, love for the artistic endeavor, that was a big one, big reason. Indian, I kind of, symbolically, lots and lots of the Buddhist teachers, the initial, they were all Indians, right? So there's that. But also, just humorously, I've asked Prasanna, the one who acted as the guide, said, I want you to be cross between Osho Rajneesh and Sadhguru. And I must say, he did quite okay.
But will somebody like that be when we die? Can we search for someone?
Oh, that, who knows? Different people will have a different guide. It could be just a dead leaf falling from the tree. It could be just a mountain breeze.
And Rinpoche, can you tell us what's your favorite recent film?
Okay. I really liked Killer of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese, right? So good. I think that's a really, that's a difficult film to make. And I thought, wow, that's a really good one. And it's an important film, especially for the Americans to watch. Okay? But there's one film I really want to mention. And this is also really a filmmaker trying to support another filmmaker of this kind. And that film is, I hope I'm pronouncing right, Kaili Blue. Kaili and then Blue. It's a Chinese filmmaker, Bin Gan or something. Oh, it's a fantastic film. It is like really, really, wow. That is one of my favorite recent ones. It's so nice. It's so kind of, I don't know, it's so encouraging to bump into this kind of film once in a while, to know that there's this kind of filmmaker who still try to do this kind of film. It's really good. You should watch it. You should watch it tonight.
Okay,
What time is it there?
I will search for it definitely. And
Okay.
And just a reminder, people can go to peakcrossing.film. It's open now. You can go there, get your tickets for the next screening. And thank you so much for connecting all the way from up there. I'm sure it was not easy to get connection and everything.
What do you mean? The connection is so good.
Yeah, well,
It's in my living room. Fiber optic.
I really want to go there again very soon, Rinpoche.
Oh, we will send it to you. You can download it.
Okay.
It's a software. You can have it with a sound. You don't have to have sound. You can have dogs barking. All of that.
What about David getting tired of climbing to get up there?
Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Please come to Mexico soon. Let's do a
Of
screening
course.
here.
Of course. Those mariachi, I need a dose of that very soon.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
And then
We'll be so happy
what
to
is it?
have you here.
And then also tacos. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.